I sat down on Sunday to watch Wimbledon. Okay, I don't watch a lot of tennis, but not only was it a war on the court, but the watches that I saw were absolutely incredible. Not only did we see great watches from the two competitors that we'll get to a little bit later, but from two other people in the crowd that just are insane. We've got Roger Federer's wife, Mirka, who her collection is insane.
Unbelievable, yeah. Even better than Roger's, I'd say.
100%. Very one-dimensional, but we'll talk about that later.
All Rolex.
And then Brad Pitt, one of the greatest watch collecting celebrities out there,
yes.
who is doing a lot for one of the major brands right now. And frankly, I don't even think he's a paid sponsor. I think he just loves the brand and is contributing in large part to just skyrocketing prices.
Wow.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So let's get into it.
Yes,
what
sir.
is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Michael. I did not play at Wimbledon.
Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for clearing that up.
No problem.
Today's episode does have a sponsor. We'll talk more about them later.
Yes.
And I guess today's conversation revolves around sponsorships, right?
Yeah,
Paid sponsorships that we see a lot in sports, really maybe more than anywhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Every one of today's subjects is a paid sponsor in one way or another by someone.
Oh, okay.
Except the last person we're talking about, which is Brad Pitt. Novak Djokovic, phenomenal tennis player. I was rooting for him to the bitter end.
He's in fact, he was the second best at Wimbledon.
He was the second best at Wimbledon, which is in and of itself an achievement. And his watch choice was interesting. He wore a Hublot, which is kind of funny.
Hublot Big Bang integrated green ceramic reference 451 GX5220GX.
What do you think about this watch?
There's all these bad things to say about Hublot, but every time I see one of their designs, I'm like, that's pretty cool.
It's kind of cool.
I like how you did that.
I don't like ceramic, really.
Yes,
So
yes.
for me, that's like not really super exciting.
Yeah.
But incredibly cool watch. I love the skeleton dial. I love the usage of alternative materials. I think it's a cool watch.
Agreed.
And it's not boring. I mean, it's kind of funny that he's even a Hublot sponsor. It's like,
True.
I didn't see that coming.
Well, it's funny when we look at the winner because it's a cool watch, but I would define it as boring, especially at Wimbledon.
For sure. But going into that watch, it almost makes perfect sense that Djokovic didn't win, because how could a Hublot win at Wimbledon, which is a Rolex sponsored event?
Yeah.
And
You're suggesting it's fixed.
yeah, exactly.
We find out it is. This little clip goes incredibly viral.
And introducing Carlos Alcaraz, who wore a yellow gold Rolex Daytona Oysterflex.
Meteorite dial?
No, just regular old yellow gold Oysterflex, no problem. Beautiful watch, a sporty watch. I think it's an interesting watch. I really, was it meteorite?
I think so.
Oh wow, then I'm wrong. Yeah, there you go. Fun little fact there.
Wow.
I did not spot that from a distance.
Well, no, it's impossible. I mean, you couldn't even notice it from space.
It actually would have been very difficult for me to spot that, but
of course.
I actually prefer the non-meteorite. I think that the meteorite's kind of busy. I actually don't like it very much.
Yeah.
But a little bit more of a predictable watch, and the question kind of comes down to, well, it's great that Rolex won, right? They're the sponsor of the event. It makes perfect sense.
Yep.
But if you had to wear a Rolex, to compete in a tennis, right, match.
To actually compete while wearing.
No. Like if you had to hold up the Wimbledon trophy with a Rolex, what's the Rolex? Michael's like, Explorer 1, fucking 40 mil.
You're like, 40 mil. No. 36. Oh, probably a Day-Date.
A Day-Date.
That's a classic one.
Yeah.
That being said, pretty cool watch still.
Yes. There's a great photo of Pelé, a famous soccer player, hugging Ronaldo, not Cristiano Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, Luis Nazario de Lima.
Also a famous soccer player.
Yeah, in 2002, I believe. And the Day-Date is so prominent. I love this photo. It reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of everything that I grew up to love as an adult, right, in watches. It actually reminds me of a very good story that I want to tell soon. And I will tell that story on our podcast at The Zero. You can go down into the description and click that link and join. It is not free. It is $10 a month to join and to listen to the podcast, but we give out $100 in rewards to all of our members. So it is, at the end of the day, functionally free to be a member of our community. We release podcasts every week. Michael and I do something once a month. We do Liquor Run every month.
Not you and me.
Rolly and I do Liquor Run every month. We are doing meetups in the city, in Boston, in Chicago, and then we interview watch dealers, okay, like John Buckley and Carl Cohen, that have been at this and have known more about the watch watch, or rather have forgotten more about the watch industry than we could ever know. We're having a blast over on the Zero. We have several hundred members, and we're just really excited to be building this beautiful community and sharing some more inside knowledge about the watch world through some unfiltered conversation. Go ahead and sign up, become a member, shoot me a message. I'm responding personally to all of the messages over there. And of course, you get your free rewards over there, so the membership is functionally free. I hope to see you over there. Yes. Yeah. So what Rolex day date would you wear then?
Oh, you know what? I would probably wear platinum or white gold. Because of my skin color, I can't wear gold. People would be like, he's so washed out.
So you would do platinum ice blue dial.
Yep.
Okay. And if you did white gold, what would you do?
What dials can I get on white gold?
Silver, blue, black. You can get a whole host of dials.
Black. Onyx.
Onyx. I don't know if they do Onyx right now.
I mean, I just
like they're going to make it for me.
Yeah.
I would probably wear a watch that we're going to talk about in a little while.
You're like, I'd wear a flick flag. I'm like, come on.
You couldn't just answer the question.
You had to do that. You're like, it's just what I wear.
It's just kind of how I feel.
I was honestly surprised you said day date. Okay.
Because I'm from really common people.
Yeah. My grandfather's a taxi cab driver. I'm not going to wear.
My other grandfather's a janitor. Okay. These are the watches that were worn by the two competitors.
Yes.
When I saw the Daytona, it made perfect sense. Obviously, Daytona is a racing watch. It's not a tennis watch. Yeah. But the Oyster Flex makes perfect sense. This is a great watch. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. I think that the white gold version, just the standard white gold, is one of the coolest Rolexes out there. I think it's a baller watch. Like it's a big movers watch, but it's kind of sporty and it's a little bit less showy than some other stuff.
Oh, than a yellow gold meteorite dial for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
you and I at Wimbledon were like, that's tacky.
That's tacky. The watch that I would wear brings us into our next conversation. Mirka Federer. Her watch collection has kind of gone viral recently because it's just insane what she has.
We look at Roger Federer, and he has essentially every single Rolex as plain as you can possibly get it. It seems like he's averse to anything that is not perfectly clean, simple.
He hates everything that's fun.
That's what Mirka says all the time. Can you be fun for once? But Mirka goes the other way, and we'll talk about a possibility as to why at the end. But starting off, what do we have?
She's beautiful. You don't think so?
I'm taken, dude.
Forget it.
I'm off the market.
So what?
I don't even see her.
Dude, that's a floating dress.
I see a floating Rolex day date 228396 TEM.
This is a great watch. Allocate all of these pieces, and we'll list them kind of quickly. These are all like serious allocation pieces, all blinged out. This is a platinum day date with emeralds everywhere, right? With a pave
green dial, green date.
Insane.
Yes.
Very cool watch. This watch is kind of went viral because Mark Wahlberg has one and he wears it. That's the only other time I've ever seen this watch. Really, wow. They're that rare. They're that hard to get. Wow. But if you're Mirka Federer, and your husband is Roger Federer, who has a partnership with Rolex, this can happen.
Yeah, that was the big thing we were talking about a little bit. Like, Roger Federer is going to an event. Rolex is definitely coordinating what watch he should wear. And since he's partnered with Rolex, they probably also are like, Mirka, like, here, they open something that's just bedazzled Rolexes and are like, pick one you want, wear it today.
I don't think you get a choice if you're Mirka Federer what watch brand you wear.
Exactly. But they can put diamonds on it.
Exactly.
Which is like, well, that's pretty cool.
Next piece is another crazy, bejeweled watch. This is a Rolex Daytona, rainbow, white with pave dial. This is actually a really rare variation. This is not the rainbow that we're used to seeing. Very cool watch. Again, all allocation. Just to give you some perspective, this watch is clearly just about impossible to get. The retail is around 170,000. The resale is somewhere basically above 600,000. They did reach 1 million at some point. And even at 1 million, who knows what the future of those watches, are? I really don't know.
Yeah, truly.
Watches as an investment class are an interesting subject. I mean, I've done a lot of, kind of talking about this and counseling about this to private clients.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, it's just they're completely unattainable because one, you're not allocated watches, and two, if you are, unless you are quite wealthy, you can't even make the investment.
Much like fine art, which brings us to our sponsor, Masterworks.
Yeah, fine art is actually even worse than watches, right?
Yes.
It's so expensive, A very expensive watch is a very, very cheap piece of art, You're talking about millions of dollars, which is completely unattainable, which is a shame because the art market has performed so well over the last, just historically,
exactly.
Forever. The art market has performed so well, particularly at auction. So what Masterworks has done is basically married their intelligence, their knowledge about the art market, the investment art market, paired with technology, and they use used this to basically allow for fractional ownership, right? They've democratized art investment. So you, as any really sized investor, can come in and buy a portion of a piece of art, as opposed to shelling out $60 million or $30 million.
Exactly.
You could throw a couple of $1,000s and be an owner.
And own a piece of Banksy, Monet, Picasso, huge names that you know. And Masterworks has had 14 sales to date.
Exactly. This does exist in the watch world, in the sense that dealers that know each other will pool money together, but this is not something that is available to even people that are in the industry, really. But Masterworks has taken this idea and just made it truly intelligent. And they've performed so well.
Incredibly well, and actually so well that there are over 750,000 people signed up for Masterworks, and there is a waiting list, but you can skip the waiting list by going to our link at masterworks.art/Theo Harris.
I highly suggest that you go ahead and do that.
As do I.
All right, thanks to Masterworks. Next watch. Oh, yeah, this is a great rainbow. This is Rolex Date 8.
The only one on the list that I would get because it fits my wrist.
36 millimeter rose gold. They also make it in yellow and in white. This is the watch that I would wear, but I would do it in yellow and without a diamond bezel.
Yeah.
This is a crazy watch. It's ridiculous, but I'd wear this watch if I won Wimbledon.
Just in case you're looking to buy it, it's reference 128345 RBR.
There you go.
This is the Rolex Yachtmaster Haribo or Candy or Gummy Rolex 116695 SATS.
Which I think is the coolest Yachtmaster they've ever made. The Yachtmaster is kind of a watch that has it's like, kind of like lost.
Yeah, it's kind of like, this is great, but what is this?
What is this?
Yeah.
Where's its purpose?
Like,
and
well,
this
we
one,
reduced the water resistance and put it in a Samaritan case.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
And this one kind of almost makes it feel like Rolex is leaning into that.
Yeah.
Rolex is like, this is a ridiculous watch and we know it too. Don't worry, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I kind of respect it.
Yeah, love it. Oh, and then we also have the Rolex Datejust Zebra 116189, which I believe it's a sea urchin or just heavily rubberized strap with diamonds pressed into it.
Is it? It's not sea urchin. I was going to say, that would be bizarre. Sea urchin.
Spikes coming out of it.
You notice how I wouldn't question you? I was like, excuse me.
I didn't see that. Stingray is what I mean.
Yes.
Which, if you're going to that level of putting diamonds in a strap, this is a crazy watch.
This is ridiculous.
But this also shows, like we said, it gets to the level where it's just like, what else can you give me? I've seen it all.
If you're into watch collecting and then your collection is worth millions, I mean, the odds are it's not going to be totally Rolex. But if it's forced to be totally Rolex, you end up doing crazy shit like this. That's just what just what happens. I mean, if you're someone that needs stimulation, you're just going to, well, what's the next thing? Push the envelope further.
True.
Oh, we can put diamonds on the strap. What?
Okay. What's
it
it
could
made
be
out
a
of?
zebra pattern.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Great. And you know what? At that point, it really is. You're probably like, okay.
Yep.
Because it's also, she probably likes watches to a certain.
She's probably rich.
Certain degree. Well, I don't know about that. But she probably likes watches to a certain degree. We don't know how much. But when your husband is completely sponsored by Rolex, you kind of just have to be like, yeah, okay, I'll take that. I'll put that on. I'll put that
Exactly.
on. Which, by the way,
This is an Omega Seamaster chronograph with a 3-2-1 movement, the same movement that we find in the original Moon watches.
Yep.
Amazing watch, currently available in the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop. So go take a look. Yeah, this is an incredible watch. It's vintage, much like the next watch we're going to discuss.
Yes.
Worn by Mr. Brad Pitt.
Yes, sir.
Watches are unimportant to the time. They can't speed, slow, or stop it, and our phones tell it better. But, as vessels for memories, they know few rivals.
Okay, moving on from Mirka
Yes.
and into a non-tennis player, right? Someone who was just a spectator at this event.
Yes.
And I think the most interesting horophile at Wimbledon was Brad Pitt, who
Yeah.
you recognize from Seven.
Yes. That's what I was like. I knew I
Ocean's
saw you
11
somewhere.
and Ocean's 12 and Benjamin Button.
What's
and,
eating Gilbert Grape?
He wasn't in that. That was Johnny Depp. But anyway, Brad Pitt has been in the watch news quite a bit lately for one particular watch. Do you know what that watch is?
The Vacheron 222.
In solid yellow gold. This
The
is
new one,
this
the
is
reissue.
The reissue.
Yes.
This is a very limited piece. A friend of ours actually recently allocated that watch. It's wild. It's a beautiful watch. It wears more like a cuff than it does a traditional watch. There's not a lot of taper in its width.
Yep.
But I tried it on pretty recently, and it really is incredible. The thing that bothers me about the 222 is it is quite a bit superior to the overseas current generation.
Superior.
Better. It is better.
Oh yeah. I know what the word means. Why are you saying it's superior?
Well, like the 15202 Audemars, it is just far more. I mean, it's thinner. I think it's better proportioned. It's more balanced. It doesn't have that extra thickness in the case that throws off the entire weight of the watch. The current overseas is a great watch. I know people that collect them, right? Shout out to Paul. But it's not as good as the 222. I'm sorry. It's just not as good. So I look at it like, well, at least AP also makes the 15202 in a serial production. They're hard to get, but at least they make them. Vacheron is basically saying, hey, that one watch that we do perfectly, our best watch, we only make it in yellow gold and no one gets to get it.
You're right.
Like, come on,
Yeah.
And to add a little bit more insult to injury, they actually do make a perfect overseas. But it's not in production.
Oh, is it the solid gold perpetual?
No,
You talk about
that too.
Okay.
But they make a time only in white gold that they just don't sell.
Why?
Makes no sense. And why wouldn't they just make those proportions in steel? Why is there a difference in the steel and the white gold? It makes no sense, guys.
There's a different level of understanding.
Yeah,
that they
exactly.
have.
You know what it is? It's just creating levels, and you can't have it, and
It's
that's
just
it.
a ladder,
Which
right.
I think is very silly. But
This is the Jumbo 222, reference 44018, introduced in 1977 to mark the 222nd anniversary of VC.
which is incredible. I
Yes.
mean, that they've been around for that long. This watch, you would think, was designed by Gerald Genta, right? The man who was famous for designing the Nautilus and the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak.
Yep.
In the opposite order, but it was not. It was designed by George Hizek, and it was obviously in the wake of the Nautilus and the
What's
Royal
hot
Oak.
right now.
But it's an original design, and I think it's truly beautiful. It obviously features the Maltese cross on the lower right lug,
Yep,
which is
yep.
totally unique.
Very cool.
And when I saw this on the screen, I said, "Are you fucking kidding me, Brad?
Yeah.
Come on."
This watch, there was only 500 made, and it goes for $135,000 on Chrono, where you can look.
Which I think around $100,000 is. I think it's actually a pretty fair price. It is the only watch that rivals the Nautilus and the Royal Oak.
And it wasn't popular and didn't really run. It didn't make it to mass production or anything. And even now, it's just starting to be the popular watch. But back then, it was kind of like you know what I mean?
100%. And not to mention, not only was the original run in limited production, like Audemars Piguet's, A series,
Yep.
but they just never made it again. Not in that size, right? Just never happened. They just made a bunch of medium-sized ones, right, and small ones.
Yeah.
So if you've got one, you know what it is. Whereas with Royal Oaks and with Nautiluses, there are so many references that that there's just more out there. There are more comparable watches out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brad Pitt is a huge VC fan with these two watches. I don't even think he's a partner of the brand.
Wow.
Which is
wild.
crazy.
Something that just struck his fancy.
Wild.
Wow.
You know who else got allocated to Vacheron Constantin 222?
Paul.
No.
Whoa.
No,
really?
no. Yeah, why? What the fuck, Paul? That's kind of embarrassing.
Didn't you buy a very famous VC?
Yeah, exactly. Andrew Schultz,
Andrew Schultz.
the comedian.
Really?
Wears a yellow gold Vacheron 222.
Wow, I had no idea he was doing so well.
Yeah, no, neither did I.
I mean it.
Yeah, what the f***, right? He's probably laughing watching. He's like, I make $92 million a year.
So Brad Pitt's watch went for $135,000. We have a bunch of very other expensive watches here, but we also have Nick Jonas's JLC Reverso, which by the time this video is out, may cost more than the $135,000 VC.
Michael's making a joke because he has JLC up their reversal prices 40% recently.
In a year,
So
so-
this watch will be $19,000.
By the time this video is out, this may be over $135,000. We can't be sure.
That's fucking great. You're really into watches when you start writing watch jokes. Like you're
See, I wrote it before you came.
That's fucked up. That is awesome. That's it. I mean, listen, anywhere you go, anywhere you find rich people,
Yeah.
you're gonna find an expression of their boredom. And
Yes.
that's
Very
watches.
poetically said.
That's it.
Yeah.
They have a lot of time to shop, and they have a lot of money to shop
A
with.
lot of time, a lot of money. You get the rare stuff, you get the weird stuff.
And every dealer is going to allocate them the craziest shit because they also hope that they then shop with them and other stuff, right?
And
so
like,
the allocation process is silly.
You'll wear this watch to Wimbledon? Okay, done.
Great.
Go, great.
Done.
Get
if
out
anyone
there.
ever asks you where you get your watches from, tell them me.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? So, but good for Brad Pitt. He's got a crazy watch collection. A Cartier Tank Guilloche. He's worn a 5711 Nautilus on many occasions. You know, in many ways, this was inevitable. The 222. Because 222 really is... And no offense to all the 5711 owners out there.
Sure.
No offense.
Yeah.
Because they're great watches, right? And I want a 5712 quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
You don't even want
but if 10 years ago you were in 5711, you know, and you're a celebrity that, you know, you're going to keep shopping, 10 years later you get the big boy watch and it's the 222 or something like
Especially
this.
the 44018.
It's the
limited
original
edition
you
didn't
know?
run, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's it. It makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Good job, Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Good job to Brad Pitt for being a terrific watch collector.